In this video, we are going to start looking into the Twitter client for R, or the Twitter package, which is included in R, and we're going to be using it in R Studio. Now, if you know anything about Twitter, you'll know that there's lots of unstructured data. And as you can see here, there's lots of stories, there's lots of opinions, lots of things out there that we can pull in and analyze quite effectively with R. So if you want to be more familiar with what the whole package entails, go ahead and search for Twitter client for R, and you'll find this whole document which pretty much teaches all about it. But in our case, we are going to jump into some code to see what needs to happen to get us started on using it. So here we have textanalysis.r, and we are going to be including the library Twitter. So I'm going to run that line of code with Command Enter, and now we've included it, we have access. If we look here, these are all the actions, the functions available through the Twitter package. And so these are all really useful, and the tricky part about getting access to this Twitter package is that we need to go on to Twitter and we need to get authentication and authorization from Twitter to use their API. If you don't have prior programming experience, an API stands for Application Programming Interface. It's basically an access point that is opened up to third-party sources by Twitter. And this access point, it's like a door. You have to have a key to get in. You have to have authentication to say, I'm safe, I'm not going to do anything harmful to your application. So that's what we need to gain access to before we actually start using all of these functions available through the Twitter package. So let's go ahead and start by, if you don't have a Twitter account right now, go ahead and create one. And we're going to start by creating a Twitter application. Let's close that out. So you need to open up a browser and go to apps.twitter.com, and it'll bring you to this page, and you should be signed in so that you can create an application so you can tie in whatever you're building to Twitter. Now I already have two here, but let's go ahead and create a new app. Now this name needs to be unique across all other Twitter applications that anybody has created. And it's not too hard for me. I usually use my last name. And it's pretty unique. So a description, we're going to do text analysis for fun. Now this website, normally when people use a Twitter API, I'm assuming they think that it's coming from a website. We're not going to have a website, so we're just going to put a placeholder in here. And a special note about this, it says this fully qualified URL. Now what does fully qualified mean? Well, it means that you need to put https://. So I'm going to use one that I already have. This doesn't have to be a real website at all. We're just getting access. And the callback URL, this is a little bit of a tricky part, and it took some digging to figure it out. But we're going to go ahead and put this in, and go ahead and just type it in on your own. And here it is. Now, if you don't have prior experience with programming or networks or anything, this may not make a whole lot of sense, and just kind of go with it right now. Our main goal right now is not to explain why this thing exists, but to get us up and running with Twitter. So let's go ahead and, yes, I agree, create your Twitter application, and here you go. So it should bring you to this page now. Your application has been created. That's a good sign. We're going to go and do two specific things now that we're here and we've created a Twitter application. You're going to go ahead and click on permissions over here, and you're going to change this to read, write, and access direct messages. Now this is important because by doing this, it'll allow you to fully utilize all of the functions available through the R package. So go ahead and do that and say update settings. Settings have been successfully updated. Okay, keys and access tokens. Not too long ago, I was explaining what an API is, and that Twitter, it's basically an access point that we need a key to get in this door that they've made available to third-party sources. So we have a unique combination of variables that will be our keys. And normally you want to keep these things secret, like this says, API secret. And I know you're looking at this and you're saying, hey, everybody can read yours in this video. But I'm going to be deleting this Twitter application after this video, so I'm not worried about it, but yours should be kept confidential. So you're going to need 4 different unique variables: the consumer key, the consumer secret, and you're going to come down here and say create my access token. And you're going to need access token and access token secret. So we have those 4 things, we've located them, and now we need to look back at the R code and see what we need to do. So if you want to access Twitter through R, you have to use this function. Set up Twitter OAuth. Let's see what that's. Oh, I already have it down here. Set up Twitter OAuth. As you can see, consumer key, consumer secret, access token, and access secret. Access consumer key, secret, access token, token secret. Those are the things that we're looking for. Now what we could do is we could put them directly in here, but that is not very secure. So what we're going to do instead is we're just going to pull up an Excel file, and I'm going to convert this to a CSV file later. So the end goal is a CSV file, however you want to do that. So we're going to go ahead and give headers. We're going to make a small table with each of these values. So consumer key, consumer secret, and let's look at the other 2. Access token, access secret. So now let's take these values, put them in. Luckily, you only have to do this once, this part of the process. All of these things will add up to be a unique combination of keys and what they call a handshake to basically let Twitter know that we are who we say we are. Okay, so now we got all 4 of those things. I'm going to come back here. I am going to do a file, save as, Twitter auth 3. And you can name it whatever you want. Just make sure you know what it is when you look at it. I'm saving it as a CSV file. And the reason being is because R handles CSV files better than it does Excel files. Okay, so now we've saved that. One thing I should change about it though, I'm going to go back and save it. I just want to make sure it's in a good place that I can get to easily. So in this case, I have saved it in my project folder, R Foundations. And this is important because if you go back to the R code, this Twitter auth equals read CSV, you're basically pulling wherever your project directory is, that's where you're pulling from. So if you do your file and your file structure, you'll see that down here at the bottom I have Twitter auth 3.csv, and that'll be really helpful because now I can access it really easily. So let's go ahead and run that. And let's see what that looks like. Twitter auth. So we see that we pulled in the values that we wanted, and to get a little bit more of a clear view, okay, consumer key, consumer secret, we have everything we need in here. So let's go ahead and move forward. And what I did here is I basically named the variable, and this $sign as a reminder is to access whatever column you're trying to get to within the data. So if I do that, and so you can see I have access to all of these. So now you can set up Twitter OAuth through that data structure that you just created, and it has all of your values saved in here for safekeeping. And let's go ahead and run that. So if we look here, I have an error. And you say, okay, what just happened? I thought we were going the right direction. And we are. It was on my mistake that that error came up because I was using values of a different file that I named the columns differently. So I'm going to have to go through and make sure that these columns are the same name that I gave them in the file, in the CSV file that we made. So access token, and the last one, access secret. All right, and this is the good sign that you want to see using direct authentication. So now we should have access to the Twitter package and all of these wonderful functions that are available. In the next video, I'll be diving into a few of these that I find particularly helpful, so stay tuned for that.